This is the Midweek Social. I'm joined today by Luke Robinson, who's the creator and presenter of the super popular UTV Podcast. Luke, welcome to All Villa, No Filler.
Cheers, mate. It's good to be on.
Yeah, no worries. I'm loving your new background. It's fantastic. Looks great. Luke, we've both been doing podcasts for a couple of years now. How does it feel to finally be able to review Aston Villa at a time when we're doing well and look like we're in the ascendancy?
Yeah, it's like you wake up every morning thinking, this is just a dream, isn't it? Because, I mean, we know what it's been like. We've been on this massive journey for years, haven't we? Like championship, we've been in there, we're getting out of there, staying in the Premier League and, finally like having a really good season, albeit like 3/4 of one. It's just great to talk about it, isn't it? And it's great to, learn about how the side's playing under Unai Emery. And to be fair, they are like a joy to watch, even if we're not scoring goals. There's movements that we, missing like a couple of chances, but we've done brilliant build-up play. So yeah, it's great supporting Villa at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, I've been following them for so long now, and there's been plenty of ups and downs, but there have been moments that have been real ups. But I don't know what it is about this at the moment with Unai Emery. It just feels like something quite special's happening. Is that how you feel? How do you feel like overall about Unai Emery?
Overall, I feel like in my head how I've always wanted to support Aston Villa and watch them. This is what I've always had in my head. I'm not one of these fans that just would slate City just because they've spent loads of money. Like Pep's an unbelievable coach. The way they play football is brilliant. I've looked at that and thought, I wish my team could even keep possession of a football for like a spell of 20 seconds. And now we're starting to see that our team's playing football the right way. We can win games where we might not be at our best. We look like we're getting things right behind the scenes with Almani coming in. The targets, the players that we link with are all top bracket players, and they all look like they're coming in to fit a specific system rather than just signing anyone that will do. So I think that part of it already gives me loads of confidence. And then you put in the picture of like Unai Emery, who he's coaching Villa with only one player that he signed, really, Moreno. Duran's not really featuring that much. So this isn't even his team, and look what he's been able to do. So, yeah, I just think he's just a legend already. He's fantastic, just the way he's got him playing, his demeanour, like, you watch the Emery fan cam on the Villa channel and you just watch it and you just smile for like 5-7 minutes that it's on because it feels like he wants to be a part of us and he really wants that. I think with Dino, it was always, well, he's one of us because he's a Villa fan anyway, but Unai, he always mentions the fans and I love that side to him as well. Yeah. So I think it's all like merging together. So yeah, I'm really happy with him.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point about how he mentions the fans. He's so good at like doing that after games, and even like social media posts, like that picture of him like looking out over Villa Park and saying how special it was to manage the club. It does mean something as a fan to have someone who clearly at least looks like they care. And you see how he's doing. You see him going mad on the sidelines, so clearly he does care. But with his style of play, because I'm with you. I've always believe that professional footballers are capable of just playing the ball on the deck. They don't have to keep belting it forward. And I've always wanted to see Villa play that style. And at the moment, with Emery, it looks like we are. But, for a while there at Villa Park, it did sound a little bit like fans would get a bit nervous, when the ball was played around at the back. But this, with the Tottenham game, the crowd it feels like the crowd's really bought into Emery now. Like, have you noticed that as well, do you think?
I think the problem that I think a lot of fans had at the start was they were already in that mindset of Tyrone Mings can't play football.
Right.
Konsa and Mings can't play together. Dougie Luiz is okay, but, whatever. Watkins is not a finisher. So they'd already got that preconceived conception in their head. So when they start seeing Mings and Konsa and Martinez knocking it about the back, they're thinking, what are they going to do? They're gonna make a mistake. But look at what Emery has done with those players. I mean, I've always rated Tyrone Mings, but I never thought he could play at the back like this. I never thought I would be watching Mings and Konsa looking better than what they've ever looked. So I think that's part of it, and it's education of learning how we're meant to do things. And now you go to a game and you don't hear anyone getting that jittery really, because you know that we can do it, and that's a great thing as well. And that high line, I mean, that high line that we keep playing teams offside, I mean, that is such a remarkable thing that we're doing. It's so difficult to do time and time again. So I think they're just really well drilled, well coached, and he's improved every single one of them.
Completely. I mean, the high line you mentioned, we kept doing it against Tottenham, catching them offside. We did it against Man United a couple of weeks ago, kept catching them offside, and we're not conceding really much at the moment. And a few pundits have said, they might get found out at some point. There's a bit of luck involved there or whatever. But at the same time, I think what pundits should really be doing is praising Unai Emery for his coaching and praising the players for actually being able to do it. It's like the last minute against Spurs when Son ran through, and I think it was Konsa saw him running. Every instinct in your body saying, chase the man. But he didn't, he stood his ground, held it, let him run offside. And I think that's the confidence and the coaching, just as you mentioned, that he's given to these players. It's just remarkable to see, really. And maybe this is as good a Villa team as I think I've seen, to be honest. Would you agree with that? Is this as good a Villa side as you've seen?
I think so. I think it's a team, and I think we haven't really been a team for ages. I mean, we was technically a one-man team for about 5 years, weren't we? So you're looking at how we're playing, and they all have a specific role, and it just, I think that's the big thing. It's a team collectively. They're really working together on everything. Whether it's a free kick where you've got Ashley Young and Dougie, you've got Martinez trying to push the wall to one side, or it feels like a real collective. And I think, like we said at the start, I think this is the best I think it's looked for. Probably for a long time in my lifetime. I mean, I'm 33, so too young to see us lift the trophy. Playoff final was probably the best it's ever got, really. And I think now you can. I think we've always had in the past, haven't we? Like, you've always got fans that are like, yeah, but this is going to happen, or yeah, but he's going to leave, or yeah, that it won't last forever. But this feels like it's just at the start. Like, we're just going to go on that trajectory. So I think that just gives me a lot of confidence, really.
And, considering where we are at the moment in the table, obviously Europe is very much on the cards. I still don't know if we're going to do it or not. It'd be just finishing top half would be remarkable, considering where we were when Emery came in. But do you think Villa can make Europe?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've got to get something at Liverpool.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing our match preview tonight, and one of the things that I was going to pick up on that is I think we need to treat this as a cup game, two-legged cup tie. We've got to still be in the last one, so we've got to be in with something in the Brighton game. So I mean, what do you think? Do you think Villa can get more points than Spurs at the last two games?
Oh, so the Spurs Leeds one is quite interesting because Leeds obviously fighting for their lives, but it's one of them where you just think at the same time, like, there's so much pressure on Leeds that they could easily just collapse, and Tottenham still have the quality to really hurt them. So, I mean, I think Villa. I think if Brighton are clear on the final day, I think it's probably, there's every reason Villa can beat them at home. I still think we can beat them at home, even if it's competitive. But Liverpool away, I just think we've caught them at the exact wrong time, haven't we?
Yeah.
But
So I was quite happy that they won against Leicester, to be fair, because I thought
right.
what we didn't want was like a reaction at
Yeah,
Anfield.
right. Yeah.
I think the fact that we sort of, I mean, I watched that game and I thought Leicester were quite poor. The fact that we're rocking up and they're sort of, I think they might like underestimate us a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that might happen. So yeah, so my answer is I do think we'll get Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the thing is as well, like, if you remember, like, Tottenham just a couple of weeks ago went 3-0 down very quickly to Liverpool. They had that fast start, but then Spurs got their way back into the game to 3-3, and then were very unlucky to lose 4-3. But so I don't know, those vulnerabilities Liverpool have had all season are still there. So you'd like to think that Unai Emery will be, he loves watching football, doesn't he? He'll be sitting there all day long just making notes.
Yeah.
His wife wondering where he is all week because he's just watching Liverpool matches. So hopefully, he can work out something that might just hurt Liverpool. But so if Villa made, let's say, the Conference League, even if it's not the Europa League, how would you feel if you made the Conference League?
I'd be absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, so
I think this club, and we all say it, and the media don't give us any sort of like gratitude, and they just bypass us, don't they? But it needs to be competing in Europe. Yeah. Whatever level it is, it needs to be competing in Europe. So Emery said that if we don't get Europe, then he's still going after the top targets, which I still think, okay, that's fine. But if you've got that European tournament that you're going to be playing in all season, it doesn't matter. Look at when Roma won it. They were just like, it's like they won the Champions League.
Exactly.
And if you can win it, it gets you into the Europa League. And it's just an easier way than spending 38 games trying to get into Europe in the most competitive league in the world. So yeah, I'd love to be in the conference, to be fair. I don't think it's a poor tournament. I think it's just a European tournament, isn't it?
Exactly, and it'd be a great experience because it's suddenly like Villa back in Europe. It gives players the sense this is where we belong, which is something we've just not had for so long. Because I still think in my head, I do remember watching. I mean, we both remember a lot of like Villa in Europe. We'll try not to think of that Rapid Vienna game 10 years ago, the nightmare. But I do remember like Inter Milan in the 90s and. Various other, European adventures, like in Moscow and places like that. But so I think the Conference League actually would just be probably a perfect tournament. There's no reason we can't look at West Ham going as far as they've gone in it and thinking with our manager, we can't go just as far as they've gone and couldn't react to it in the same way that Roma fans didn't last season, as you mentioned. They were so excited. And I think that's what we'd be like as well. And it'd be a great building block for Unai Emery to then work on for something else. But there's been a fair bit of discussion I've noticed recently just about kind of who Villa's player of the season might have been. No, it's quite hard to pick actually. I think I've been sort of going back and forth on it in my own head. But if you had to choose a player of the season right now, who do you think you'd go with?
100% Douglas Luiz.
Right, fair
enough.
He
has been tremendous. Even at the start, I just think he's had a brilliant season. I was at the Villarreal game and it was just Emery, Dougie learning in his ear. And I remember coming away from that thinking, he's going to be his little project that he's going to mould and morph into this player that fits his system. And it is, I just think he's class. He speeds it up. He knows when to slow it down. He's absolutely everywhere. And I think, there are so many that could have got it. Mings, Young, Watkins, but I just think Luiz is just so crucial to our team and our midfield. And for years we've been crying out for like good central midfielders, and now we've got more than two. We got Luiz, we got Kamara, McGinn. We got really good ones. So I'd say Luiz. I mean, McGinn's performance at the weekend was just ridiculous. It was that good. But I think I'd go Louise, I think.
I think that's a really fair shout. His improvement just under Emery has been absolutely amazing. I think he always had that ability. And I always used to think, when Pep Guardiola was annoyed that he had to sell him from Man City, I actually did think that even when he wasn't playing at well for Villa, I was like, I could imagine Luis playing with City and just being a player who comes on in midfield for them and does the job.
Yeah.
And he looks a bit like that type of a player, doesn't he? He's so comfortable just when there's players around him. His back's to goal, essentially. And just those sorts of intelligent midfield players it's so hard to come by and just great to watch as well, really. But I also do wonder if like Mings as well, like he's coming back from what, at the start of the season when Gerrard was like, look me in the eye and all that and losing the captaincy. As you mentioned earlier, to be playing the way he's playing now, like with the ball at his feet and the way he drives forward and he's so good at it as well. Do you think he should be starting for England, let alone getting picked?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Southgate watches when he watches Villa. I don't know what he's watching. But yeah, I think he's never let England down, has he? He's got like 12 clean sheets in 14 games or something. But he's just been brilliant as well. And it's so interesting now, like reflecting on the season, talking about who could get player of the tournament or season. Like normally we sat here thinking, how many of them are going to go? How many do you want to sell? So the fact that now we're talking about loads of them could be winning player of the season, I think that shows how far we've come as well.
And if we look to the summer, like where would you think on the pitch Villa mostly need to strengthen?
I'd say there's 4 positions that I would say we need to improve. I think we need to get another winger who's vibrant, pacey, direct. Just sometimes that, if games are tight, we just need that unpredictability about us. I think we need 2 more central midfielders to go either side of the double pivot. So, a Ramsey and a McGinn, switch them, change them round. I think that's what we need. And I'd say a striker, not to replace Watkins, but I think to go with the vibe up top. I think, if we're in Europe, I think we do need, I think, a different type of striker. I know we've been with like Vlahovic and stuff, and then I think if you're getting a bit greedy at the end of the window, backup goalkeeper, maybe another right back, centre half that can adapt and go sort of like when Moreno goes forward, we've got 3 centre backs. So we've only got like Carlos, Mings and Konsa. So we probably need another one. So I'd say that's my vibe where I'm at, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And, Macha Guendouzi, would you like to see him turn up?
Oh, definitely. I was calling for him in January. I think, if he was saying like Ramsey's position at times when we were playing like the top 4 teams, having that strength in there, I think sometimes it's an area where we lack a little bit, really. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, completely. They're the exact positions I've been thinking as well, to be honest. So Luke, look, UTV Podcast, as you can see on the neon sign behind. I love it. It's quite interesting to know, really. So, I think you've been doing it a couple of years now. What sort of inspired you to set up the UTV Podcast?
So I was doing like score predictions on Twitter every Friday.
Right.
Getting a bit of interaction. That was the platform that I used to use. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to go and make a podcast. And to start with, I wanted it to be a bit like a football phone-in where fans call in and we'd have a chat and have that sort of vibe. And it didn't really materialise into that. I think you learn, like technology needs to look good. It needs to sound good. It needs to have a good feel. And I just wasn't happy with that vibe at the start. So I started it in like COVID when we came back in that survival season, so for about 10 games. And we just grew it, and it's become what it is now. Like, not just the pod. I think it's more, we're a brand, we've got like a website, and we have writers, we have Villa fans that write for us, and I'm just all about the interaction. Like, I want fans to get involved. So everything that I try and come up with is for the fans. So, whether we're doing a predicted lineup, fans can interact with it and do their own player ratings. You can interact and put your own ratings in, and our comment sections become like a forum. So I think that's the feel that I really wanted to create in the end, and that's what it morphed into.
It's been a fantastic achievement, honestly, to see it sort of grow and grow constantly the last couple of years. And I think, as you mentioned, that kind of like seeing so many people involved and kind of opportunities people get to write for you as well. Like, it's a massive credit to you, to be honest. And so what's been like, for me, I mean, what I've enjoyed doing about podcasts has been like making new friends and meeting new people as well. Like, I've met so many people through, I didn't know of before, and now we've just met loads of people. I go down Villa Park and I'll see people around and that now who I wouldn't have known without the podcast. So, but what for you has been kind of like the best bit of doing UTV?
Probably like Hannah, Justin, and Ryan, to be fair.
Right,
forming that team, and we're literally like, mate, we're all just mates. We literally talk to each other every single day. Villa tweets something, we talk about it. Something happens, we talk. It's literally like that all day. So it's that that partnership with them really, and just getting on that journey with them. So I'd say that's the best bit. And like you go to the games, people come up to you. Like, I was at Leicester away, and there was a fan that said, great to meet you. I watch you all the way from Australia. Brentford away, we was in a pub. Guy comes up to us. We've never been to England before. We watch your podcast, and
oh wow,
giving that enjoyment to people, and giving them a voice to speak and get involved. And we have so many comments of like, I can't go to Villa, but you guys make me feel like I'm a part of it. And I think that's good. That is, to make people feel like that. I think it's really important, really. So I mean, that's the best bit, as people are enjoying it, and I think that's the main thing, really.
It's an amazing feeling, isn't it, to have that sense of, I don't know, like a community, I guess, almost. Like, yeah, it's awesome. And honestly, massive fair play for what you've done with the podcast. It's really great, brilliant. You're also doing your own channel now as well. I think it's called the Luke Robinson channel. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. So
original.
Yeah. So what's that kind of about, and what you're doing with that?
Well, so basically, I think some people know, some people don't know, but I used to work at Tony and Guy as a hairdresser, and I took a decision to go full-time podcast. So basically, Up the Villa is like my job, and I decided that I could make a second channel and do something similar, but talk about football in general. So the two are just merging together, and I'm trying to grow the other channel as well. So it keeps me busy. So that's why I did it.
Yeah, great. So good luck with it, man. Like, yeah, it's well worth doing, I reckon. And because this is the midweek social, so we tend to ask a couple of like different questions as well. So I'll ask you, how did you actually start supporting the Villa?
It was like, I always remember going to like my nan's house as a kid, and my auntie and my uncle would come on a Saturday, head to toe in Villa gear just before they go to the Villa. And I just learned to love Villa. It's just a family thing. So as a kid, just head to toe in the kit every single day, never took it off. Played football, until I was probably about 18, and just loved football. So it's just a family thing, really. I think, that's it. That's how it happened.
Yeah, it gives you that connection, and it's always yeah. I think that's part of for me as well. It's like I'm in London and all that, but I don't know, been around Villa, and it just when I go home, go back to Birmingham and all that, it's like I'm going to Villa Park. I feel like I'm almost stepping back into my own life and past and all that as well, and your family members. It's just such a big part of our lives, really. I love it. But there's been a lot of memories along the way as well on the series. So not a lot of great memories in the last 15 years. I'll put it like that. But do you have like a favourite memory of supporting the Villa?
One of my memories was going to the semi-final FA Cup Bolton. I think that's when, as a kid, when there was all flags on cars and everybody was buzzing about Villa trying to you start to learn so this is why they're playing, this is what they're trying to win something. And I remember going to that game, and I think just that moment of realizing that it's bigger than just going to Villa Park. You could actually go to Wembley, and so I think that's a big memory. Favorite player, Angel. Just loved watching Angel. That's a big memory. And one of my big memories, I'd say, is that, I'm not too scared to say it, but watching Grealish's career.
Yeah.
I remember going to the Next Gen series. I think I went to the semi-final, and I was watching Grealish when he was playing, in the youth team, and seeing him come through in the Villa team and captaining Villa and everything like that. I'd say, looking back, I think a lot of Villa fans will have real fond memories, of Grealish. And I know it hurt that time when he left, and he went to City, and who wants to see him lift the cup at City and that. But once you get past that, he was a remarkable player for Villa. Absolutely remarkable. The stuff he did on the pitch. So I'd say that's probably one of my best memories, because I'd probably say he's probably. I think Angel's my favourite player, but I think he was the best player I think I've ever watched at Villa, I think.
Yeah, I think he's the best player I've watched at Villa. I think he's one of the best players I've ever seen ever in my life. Just an amazing, unique talent. And to live through what he was doing at Villa as a Villa fan as well was just man, when are you ever going to get that again? It was special. Was that, so you said the Bolton semi-final? Was that like the FA Cup 2000?
Yeah, we lost to Chelsea in the final.
Yeah, God, that was a miserable final. But that semi-final, that was better. I feel like I remember Bolton missed an open goal or something like. Oh yeah, and it always Villa putting you through stress anyway. So Luke, for those, I'm assuming most people watching this will be aware of your podcast and all that, but for those who might not be, where can they follow you online, and where can they watch your content? And also, where can they come across your own channel as well?
Yeah, so it's pretty much all on YouTube. Villa, Up the Villa Podcast on YouTube, Luke Robinson channel on YouTube, Twitter, Luke Robinson, and Up the Villa Podcast on Twitter, really. So that's where you'd find us.
Okay, brilliant. Well, Luke, it's been absolutely awesome to meet you, man. And honestly, just best of luck with everything you do going forward. And I'm sure we'll catch up again in the future.
Cool. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.